I dream of a day where I can finally relax, when I can stop running, when each day of my life doesn't pass by so glacially slow and doesn't consist of constant worry and stress. When will they come? Which corner do they lurk in? What darkness shrouds them this time? Are they fully lost in the energy I gave? Or have they cast it away, opting to go the monkey way, bare-bones style, flinging shit at the walls? Why would they do such a thing? Just to prove that they are better? Are they even looking for me anymore? Or do they let me die away in these cold mountains, dwindling from the greatest thing they've ever known to the worst? A man chased to the ends of earth will scantily believe that his fate has changed. He will keep running. Like this man, I too continue to run, but I am wiser, for I am sprinting, and they are coming. I can feel them getting close now. You see, the things that I've done, the wrongs that I've committed, to them they're unforgivable. They'll do everything in their power to see me behind bars, but they don't even believe in death penalties. They can kill you without firing a single bullet. They realize that nobody, not even the government, can be the judge, jury, and executioner. Especially since every juror nowadays is no man or woman. It's simply an AI hardwired for intelligent objectivity. But we voted for that. They didn't force it upon us. They certainly didn't leave much of an alternative, did they? But two wrongs never make a right, which is why I'm hiding. It's why I refuse to take any more lives. It's contradictory. How can I murder God's children, rather than attempt to sway them off of the dark path they've fallen onto? I've been here for far too long now. My clothes are tattered, my rations are low, and I cannot take the cold much longer. It's so dark. My lips are turning pale. I can't see this, of course, but I feel it. Why is this happening to me? Is this any way for us to live? Is this any way for a God to exist? To those around me, not you, but those around me, I am normal. I am just a man with the same ability and privileges as the rest of them. And while we all have special, unique, specific skills to ourselves, those skills complement each other, for we are all equal. However, I am different from them. I was not as strong as the rest. They handled their gift with ease, without issue, as if they were born for it. They were. They spent their days enjoying the fruits of the intense labor that is life, and they lived with no constraint, and appeared to be utterly blissful. I, on the other hand, fell, and I fell hard. And as soon as I was bestowed the gift, I became overwhelmed by sickness. Sickness, the desire for mutiny. You see, what I did was unforgivable in their eyes, but I simply do not care. That world will thank me for the removal of those demons that lurked in their shadows. They lurked too inside of me, carefully and ever so quietly. However, they are no more. I cannot explain how I've done what I've done without sounding like an asshole, so just take my word for it. But I understand exactly what I did, and that I and no other mortal will ever be able to tell you why what I did does what it does. It's something that cannot be answered, likely because God himself doesn't even know. What I did was create my own universe. Before I did so, I took something of my own and added it to the mix. My soul. Well, not all of it, but some. My soul, or as many humans call it, my grace, is what gives me my powers. It's what makes me like the ones that are chasing me. It took merely seconds. This is relative, of course. But in my time, in just minutes, a world capable of supporting life came to be, and support life it did. A race of beings evolved on that planet, beings capable of great things in their respective world. They were able to master the elements of the outside, and were more than capable of bending their environment to their own will. Yet they lacked the ability to do the same within. Spiritually, they were as intelligent as the metal frame that houses our world. They fought many times, often waging wars over things that they had no idea had no real relevance. They didn't see the bigger picture. They couldn't. What they did not realize was that their ignorance and stupidity, the tripping over their own feetness, it's a gift. Yet they work tirelessly each day over millennium to progress towards intelligence at a crawling snail's pace. And over time, fascinated within the outside world, they fell back within themselves. They had no gain from evolving past where they were now. They were simply meant to live in a just and blissful paradise with no care. That way, I could leave. In my world, things are not this way. And this way, I could escape into my new world and enjoy it with them. I could forget the world that I came from, and I could come to this new world and they would revere me as their god. Not some invisible creature floating in the ether. No, me. The pain I felt in every waking moment would soon go away, and I would relax for the first time in my life. But they've ruined it. As I watch from above, I see fiery land and barbaric people, cities burned at the hands of others. They were the definition of selfish in this way, and they were unrivaled in convincing their peers that this was the way that God intended, that their personal responsibility was not relevant. They took my only chance of relief, my personal paradise, and they threw it on the ground and stomped on it. I should have destroyed them while I had the chance. The syndicate would have never found out. But I was so set on them becoming whatever it was that I wanted them to become that I lost sight of the syndicate's monitoring. And thus, I am running. No, I'm sprinting. And the only question is, how long can I? Since the beginning, they've been keeping tabs on me. My grandfather was a bit of a troublemaker, as was my father. They didn't do anything bad. They just weren't the same. And here, that's all that matters. They styled their hair differently. They ate different food. And it was the first time anyone had seen something like this. The conformity of the syndicate was something that all took pride in. This sort of behavior, non-conformity, was not just out of the ordinary. It was downright blasphemous. Soon, these things would never be spoken of again and would be erased from every book, including my father, and his, and his. Their lack of blending into the image of the people caused great distress among the group, so since my birth, I've had eyes on me. And I'm sure if you ask them, they'd say they felt as though they were protecting me, keeping a watchful eye, just as big brothers should do to their little brothers. But it felt more like they were trying to protect everyone else from me. I must move to a different area, but I am uncertain of where because, frankly, I believe that there are no more places to hide. I have to go now. There's a knock at my door. I think if they knock one more time, the whole thing will come down and I too. We will talk again soon. Until now, I've never seen this world. Until today, until I needed to be, I was never a part of it. I felt sick to my stomach on arrival. I thought of the atrocities the people performed and how they were unforgivable, how they had no sense of right and wrong. This was the first time I would get to see my creation firsthand, my paradise, and I couldn't be less excited. I felt burdened to come here now, but I start my ship and begin its course. But I start my ship anyway and begin my course. The capital. As I look out my ship's window, I cruise above the creatures. They were disgusting, worse than I ever could have imagined them to be. Total and utter destruction surrounded the cities that they had built. Buildings in what seemed to be a downtown area were still smoking from whatever weaponry they used to destroy them. As I looked out my ship's window, I cruised above these creatures. They were disgusting, worse than I could have ever imagined. Total and utter destruction surrounded the cities that they built. Buildings in what seemed to be a downtown area were still smoking from whatever weaponry they used to destroy them. It was painstakingly clear that these things were living without peace, love, and without care. Their heads were oddly shaped, like beaten pears. Their skin was no single color, each respectively amalgamating into colored clusters closely resembling a camouflage-style pattern. But instead of greens and browns, it was the entire spectrum. Colors that you can't see. As I encroached upon the capital, I noticed the grandiose size of the buildings, and frankly, it was quite beautiful. I had never seen anything like them before. The same vibrant color pattern as the things inhabiting this world, yet they had delicately carved artwork in the sides of them that was immaculate and undeniably perfect. Images of things that I have no knowledge of. I can't tell their meaning, for I am not from here. But nonetheless, they are beautiful. In fact, as I came to the edge of the capital city, I passed through a field, not visible, but physical. You could feel it, but you could not see it. Sometimes, dear listener, we are shown but one side of the story, and even so, not the entire side. What we heard just now was a testament of experience from one Declan the Creator. Just as you've heard from him, Declan has finally entered his land of paradise. But like I said, you were told by him. So allow me to turn the camera in a circle, let me show you the full picture, and allow me to raise every curtain. Just after Declan was found, he was killed, quickly, by the Syndicate. He was killed with a silver blade forged by the soul of a man. However, what's unique about this murder is that not a single drop of blood was spilled. Like our friend Declan said, they can kill you without firing a single bullet, and he meant it. But is this not evolution at its finest? Ladies and gentlemen, is the adaptation of those too weak to physically take from the strong? Do you really think that it's to still try? No. The adaptation of the weak is to not try at all. It is to find a way around brute strength, combat expertise, and undeniable willpower. For all intents and purposes, they must travel within. This is the way things go. And for Declan? Well, they've figured out a way, these people, the Syndicate, to keep things going. Perhaps for Declan, they go even better than he could have ever imagined, and he's living in his paradise for eons, unending. Maybe these beings are so evolved past free will that being blind and blissful and ignorant of the truth, being stuck in the matrix, maybe this is desirable, because frankly it takes the least amount of energy, for you and for them, and energy runs and makes up the universe. You may be wondering, was Declan God? Or just one of them? Are we talking about an advanced alien race? Maybe. But maybe not. Maybe that's up to you. I do know one thing for certain that I will share with you. The world beyond our own exists within you.